All right, everyone. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Um, reading Book of Signs by Dr. Jeremiah. Um, he went um, through the Bible and other things to research what might happen into the Bible's future. He went through a lot of things, and right now we are on combating materialism. And we'll start there. So, according to the Bible, the antidote to materialism is generosity. Let's conclude by looking at 4 ways we can combat the even increasing human tendency towards loving money or possession more than we love God and others. It all begins with how we view money. Now, change the way you think about money. From the day we hold the first paycheck in our hands, we wondered, what will I buy for myself? We think of our wages as ours. We earn what we pay through our work. So it must belong to us. We bristle at the amount withheld of taxes, healthcare, and even our own retirement. We look at what we actually take home, allotment to rent bills, bills themselves, daily necessary, and what's left. Well, protect that what with foresee of a lion guarding its killer. And now we are expecting to give some away to people or organization who don't work for it. That's a hard pill to swallow. The most viral step we can't take towards overcoming materialism in our lives is turning the way we think about money on its head. When we remember that every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, James 1:17, we realize that nothing good is really ours to start with. It's God and he bestow it on us as a gift to be used as glorifying him. When we start thinking of money as just one of the countless good gifts from our Father who loves us, we can rest in the knowledge that he knows what we need. He promised and provide in his storage house are unending. Think of this way. You make a pie chart to see where your money is. Going in this paradigm or paradox, the amount you have to work with is a fix, and each expand in every category takes away from the whole unit you used up in the entire circle. It's a closed system. There's nothing for you outside the circle, but God is infinity. He doesn't work in pie charts. He works in rivers. River belongs, and he never runs out. If he is the one who supplies all our needs, and he needs to run out of supplies, we can't stop thinking about our money in terms of the pie being swiftly eaten up and starting to think of ourselves as conduit of his grace. What he gives us, we can pass on to others without fear that there won't be enough left over for us. Before you do the big thing, do the little things first. We won't automatically become generous in a day, but we can begin to do little things we thought were unimportant. Curiosity increases the amount you leave on the table for the waiter or the waitress who serve you at the restaurant. Carry some money with you, especially to give away to someone in need, and ask God to reveal ways to express love and generosity to the people you meet every day. Make a commitment to support your church and discover the joy and impact of teething. In 1981, Albert Luxey started working at the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh, cleaning and polishing shoes for $5 a pair. Satisfied customers often tipped him, usually $1 or $2. One Christmas, a customer gave Albert $50 for shining one pair of shoes. The big tip like that were rare. Of course, it's over the years as styles change. Albert saw his business dwindle. In 2013, Albert retired after 32 years on the job. There was a farewell party at the hospital. Staff administration spoke of how much he be missed. But when he walked out the door on his last day, his influence at the hospital continued. Why? Because during those years of shining shoes, Albert Luxey donated more than 30% of his earning to the hospital free care fund, which helps cash strapped parents pay for their children medical care. And those tips, he gave every single one of the hospital more than $200,000 in all. We develop a habit and generosity in the same way we develop any good habit. Through incidental adjustments, we can maintain over the long haul. It's far better to start small and build up from there than to make one huge gift to the church or charity and fall into compliance because we're done our part. Generosity isn't one and done situation. It's a lifestyle. Start giving more than you can afford. The next step after giving a little is giving a lot. In one of the letters to the believers in Corinth, Paul report on the generosity of Christian living. Hard to say that, sorry. Now I want you to know, dear brother and sister, what God in his kindness has done through the churches. They are being tested, many troubles, and they are very poor, but they are also filled with abundant joy, which has overflowed in rich generosity. For I can testify that they gave not only what they could afford, but far more, and they did it of their own free will. They begged us again and again for the privilege of sharing in a gift for the believers in Jerusalem. To what is it? Corinthians 8:1-4 NLT. Those believers gave not out of their abundant, but out of their poverty, and they won't contend to give only a little. They want to give all that they had and more. At this point, you might be asking, just how much should I give? Especially if you are someone who budget or tracks your expenses, you may want a hard and fast rule of percentage. You want to know how big a piece of a pie this generosity will require. In his best known book, Mere Christianity, C.S. Lewis tried to answer the question. I do not believe one can tell how much we ought to give. I'm afraid the only safe way is to give more than we can spare. In other words, if explore on confronts luxury and amusement, etc., is up to the standard common among those who, with the same income as our own, we are probably giving away too little if our charity do not at all pinch or hamper us. I should say our expectations are too small. There ought to be things we should like to do and cannot do because of our charity excludes them. The answer to the question, how much should I give, is more than you can afford. We all spend far more on things we don't need than on the cause that are truly close to God's heart, namely the spread of the gospel and the care of the poor. Make sure you're moving towards your treasure. More people are familiar with the following words of Jesus. Do not lay up for yourself treasure on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in to steal. But lay up yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there's your heart will be also. Matthew 6:19 through 21. Far fewer of us are familiar with those wise words from Apostle Paul. Teach those who are rich in this world not to be proud or not to trust in their money, which is so unliable. Their trust should be in God, whose riches gives us all we need for our enjoyment. Tell them to use their money to do good. They should be rich in good works and gorgeous generosity to those in need. Always bring ready to share with others. By doing this, they will be storing up their treasure as a good foundation for the future so that they may experience true life. Timothy 6:17 NLT. You may not think of yourself as rich, but you are. According to the Forbes, the typical person in the bottom 5% of American income distribution is still richer than 68% of the world inhabit. No matter what your income, you are either moving away from your treasure or towards it. The Lord Jesus gives you a choice in the matter. Every heartbeat brings us one moment closer to eternity. If we spend our lives in pursuit of wealth on earth, then we waste our time and lives. But if you treasure in heaven, you always move forward. In many cultures throughout the history, the dead were buried with items they might need in next life. Think if lavish tombs of Egyptian pharaohs stuffed with gold, precious jewels, weapons, and even food, or vast underground army of terracotta soldiers buried with Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor, meant to protect him in the afterlife. But no matter who we are or how much we mass on this earth. None of the following follows us when we die. Best-selling author Stephen King shared these words in 2001 in graduating class at Vassar College. A couple years ago, I found out what you can't take with you. Means I found out while I was laying in the ditch, the side of the country road, covered with mud and blood, in the tibia of my right leg poking out the side of my jeans like a branch of a tree taking down in a thunderstorm. I had a MasterCard in my wallet, but when you laying in the ditch with a broken glass in your hair, no one accepts the MasterCard. We come in naked or broke. We may be dressed when you go out, but we just as broke. Warren Buffett going to go out broke. Bill Gates is going out broke. Tom Hanks going out broke. Stephen King broke. Not a crying dime. All the money you earned, all the stocks you buy, all the material funds you trade, all of the mostly smoke and mirrors, it's still going to be a quarter past getting late. Rather, you tell the time on a Timex or a Rolex. So I want you to consider making your life one long gift to others. And why not? All you have is alone anyway. All that lasts is what you passed on. This needy world is not a pretty picture, but we have the power to help the power to change. And why should we refuse? Because we're going to take it with us. Please, a lifelong giving, not just money, but time and spirit, repays it and helps us remember that we may be going out broke, but right now we're doing okay. Right now we have the power to do great good for others and ourselves. So I ask you to begin giving and to continue as you begin. I think you'll find in the end that you got far more than ever had and did more good than you ever dreamed of. Several years ago, a video was posted online, a woman selling roses on a New York subway train for $1 each. And in the video, a man approaches her and asks how much for all roses she has to sell. He gave her $140 for an entire bunch. But instead of taking his purchase with him, he asked if the rose vendor to give them away to the people. When the train stops, he steps off, leaving the woman uttering stun. She began to sob. Maria Lopez, the bystanders who filmed the entire, told Huffington Post she started crying from the relief of someone actually being generous. Hey, Mustang. This one gesture of humanity is so huge. It's a testament to the lack of love and the lack of generosity in the world. I think people are yearning for what? For that. Yes, people are yearning for it. And when we hold a gift of God in an open hand, rather than clutching our fist around them and holding on for dear life, we choose to show the world a better way to live. The way of love. In those days, let's make the move from materialism into generosity as we use the resources we have and bless others and honor the Lord. In morality, on May 8th, 2011, Chapter 7, Tony Bennett walked across the stage of Jacob Javits Center and sang a couple of ballads at the opening program for the famous New York charity. The full crowd before him was glittering cosmos of New York's brightest celebrities. Bennett's timeless voice thrilled the house, and everyone marveled at the 85-year-old crooner's enduring ability to charm the audience. But later in that evening, it was Bennett himself who was charmed as he listened to a singer exactly 60 years of his junior. He was swept off his feet by the clarion voice of Lady Gaga. Meeting her backstage, Bennett regaled her with stories of his favorite songwriters. Cole Porter, an impressive positive, asked her to sing on his 2011 album, Duet 2. A few years later, the two collaborate on another album, Cheek to Cheek, and the opening song was Porter, Anything Goes. It was a daft choice, Anything Goes. It's a bouncy, toe-tipping number. You can't help but smile as you hum a melody, but its words were written in 1934. Celebrating a moral free fall of American 20th century, song boast of how times have changed. Claims of partisan are in for a shock. The lyric brag that profanity and nudity are in vogue. For all its toe tapping, Anything Goes represents the moral revelation that has infected our culture, leaving the West in the brink of spiritual collapse. Ironically, it is philosophy that ruined Porter's own life. The famous composer grew up on an Indiana farm. His mother went to church, but her young son was not impressed. I never felt religion was serious to her, he recalled. It was not important. She went to show off her new hat. Porter learned to play the violin at age 6 and the piano at the age 8. He wrote his first Broadway show tune in 1915 and went on to provide crooners such as Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra, with dozens of hits. I've Got You Under My Skin, Night and Day, Just One of Those Things, Don't Fence Me In, I Get a Kick Out of You. His fans did not realize that his love songs were written for his boyfriends that he married was a shame, or that his music financed an endless series of Anything Goes parties. Porter lived as he sang Anything Goes, but after being injured in a equestrian horse accident, he never regained his health of happiness. He became reclusive and spent his last years depressed, diseased, drinking, and drugging. In 1964, Porter was wheeled into California hospital for the last time. The nurse studied the patient, perhaps wondering how anyone so famous could look so cheerless. Clicking off items on the questionnaire, the nurse came to the issue of the patient relations. Put down none, replied the porter. The nurse said, President, Protestant. That's one of the church leaders. Put down none. Shortly after, he sent someone to destroy his photograph, which that done, he died. He was terrible alone at the end with said a friend. He really didn't have anything or anyone he was close to. His secretary lamented that her boss never found the strength that came from faith in God. Without faith, one is like a stained glass window in the dark, she said. How to reach his particle darkness, she added, is an enigma. Similar to darkness, its descent on our world, American culture now resembles. That stained glass window, though which no light shine. We are living in a world where anything goes, but nothing satisfies us. Well, I want to stop there. Next one is expression of a moral decline. Hey, thanks for all coming. Appreciate it, those who came. And I will talk to you later. Bye now.